Okay. So then in 1986, Rich gets out of prison. What was that homecoming like?
Everybody happy. Everybody happy. Rich is finally home. Thank God he survived jail. Because I know that had to be hard for him. He wasn't nobody used to being in prison. So I know that was hard for him as well as anybody that loved him. Then he got home and got right back into being Richard.
Right. Well, after he got out, Rich introduced Alpo to Azie. So how did Rich know Alpo?
He probably I don't really know how they met, but just knowing how he is, he probably brought himself to know him. Introduced himself, came through on his own, knowing who Richard was, knowing how Richard was. He probably just made a way for himself. That's what I believe.
Okay, and you knew Alpo during that time?
Yeah.
But you didn't think much of him?
Well, I could say I don't want to say I knew him. I had met him, and we knew of one another, but no, I didn't.
Okay. But you say he would be disrespectful to women and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
so
and that's what I didn't like.
So it kind of turned you off and so forth.
I didn't like how he spoke, and I just didn't like that. I felt like it was so disrespectful, he didn't care. And it just, blew minds. Why do he talk to people like that? It was so rude and disrespectful. I didn't like that.
Okay. Well, the three of them started to become cool with each other and they started to work together. So Rich, Alpo, and Azie had a little crew and they started to build up the drug operation. It was rumored that Rich never wore the same outfit twice. Is that true?
No, he did not.
True.
No, he didn't.
No, it is true.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Okay. And he had a dozen luxury cars.
A dozen?
More?
No, had more than a dozen.
How many cars did he have?
He had a lot of cars, not all at once. I'm not saying he had, but he did have a lot of cars. Through the years, too, they all had a lot of cars.
Okay. How many cars did he have at one time? The most number of cars at one time?
Probably 4.
Okay. But these were all Benz, BMWs. And from what I understand, he would go to the dealerships and get cars a year before they would come out by basically bribing the dealers.
But they all did. That's what they were doing then. It wasn't bribing. They just had the money to do that. I wouldn't call it bribing.
Well, he would basically chip off the salesperson with an extra 20, 30,000 to get me a car that's not out yet.
1990 when it was 1989, 1983, you get a 85 or 84. They stood it, they kept it in advance.